Monday evening at 6 o'clock. Welcome to everybody that's here live, and welcome to those of you that are watching on the rebroadcast. And so I'm here with Nicole, as we are every week. Every week that we're able to do it, I may have some announcements on that coming up towards the end of our show, but we'll get to that later. Yeah. Well, I have a
Welcome,
wedding. everybody. Yes, welcome to everybody.
Yes.
And I have a wedding to go to
Hi.
in Seattle
Ah.
that may prevent me from being on one of our broadcasts. We'll see. I'm not sure about my timing of everything yet. Hi, Melly. How are you? I hope you're doing well.
Oh, she went to a Chargers game, Pop.
I saw it on Facebook. How about that? So you went
Yeah.
to SoFi Stadium? How exciting! I want to do that. It's one of my lists of things to accomplish this year. We'll see what happens.
Remember, Garrett helped with that.
That's right. He helped build it for a while, didn't he? He helped
Yeah.
on the construction of it. It was beautiful. Yeah, it is an awesome stadium from everything I've seen. I'm looking forward.
So much
Football
fun.
season's almost here, isn't it? So the Power Hour for everybody, for those of you that might be new, the Power Hour is all about helping you regain your power, or shall I say, gain your power, because for most of us, we didn't have it in the first place, right? So our whole goal here is to help you to understand how valuable you really are and the assets that you already have, no matter. And it's not about how much money you have or what kind of work you do or any of that stuff. It's the inside that's really so special in every single one of us. And I was telling my daughter as we started talking to get ready for the program tonight how beautiful she is and how photogenic she is. And it was that, oh, thank you, Pop. And it wasn't like, oh, thanks. And she recognizes that she's got that, right? Yep. You all know it because you all see it, right? She is absolutely, the camera loves her. Mm-hmm. And so I was telling her that's a great segue for our program today, because we all have underestimated ourselves as to who we are and what we are. We deny those qualities that others tell us that we have because we've been so hard on ourselves for so long that we forget that we've got that spark of the divine in us. I mention this every single week, and I do that on purpose because we learn through repetition, right? So our goal here is not about being egotistical or vain or any of that kind of stuff. It's simply recognizing that God put that spark of himself inside every single one of us. And quite frankly, it's our responsibility to live up to what that spark of the divine means in each of us. But it's easier for us to say, well, God made everybody else special, but he treated me extra special because he didn't give me those things.
He was sleeping on the job.
Yeah, exactly. Right. If he knew what he was doing, or if he knew me like I did, he wouldn't have made me the way he did. Well, he made you exactly the way he did, and he makes everything perfect. So you have to be exactly perfect the way you are right this moment. Does that make sense to you?
Yes.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
And so we all have to pay attention to those thoughts. Like when I mentioned Nicole, she's so photogenic, her automatic reflex was to say, oh, no, that's, people tell me that, but they don't know. They don't know me, right? And so we all do that, and we got to stop that. How can we grow if we keep denying the perfect that's in us? It can't happen. So that's the whole idea, is with our broadcasts here every week, is to help remind you about who you really are, and make sure throughout your week, what is it I always suggest people do? Give yourself an atta-girl or an atta-boy every time you notice that you've done something nice. So
oh, We were
Uh,
supposed to write it down too.
yeah, I wonder how many people did. So far, Melly's the only one that's making a comment. Yeah, I didn't write it down either. Yeah, absolutely
I'm
not.
telling the
But I
truth.
did have a lot of wonderful little experiences this week that, I got to talk to somebody who had just gotten a whisper here very recently.
Oh, good.
Yeah. And I said, so how did you like it? What did you notice? She goes, I put it on and there was this energy feeling I got that was just so calm and peaceful. And it was like, wow, that's amazing. But I haven't noticed it since. I said, well, that's exactly why most people don't keep wearing them. Because what happens is you start to release that coarse negative energy that we've all built up, is that you start to get that peaceful, nice feeling within yourself. And then that means that the energy that the whispers bring back to balance is now your normal. So you're not going to notice the whisper as much as you're going to notice your normal. And then as the layers start releasing, you'll have your ups and downs and those things that feel kind of wow, what the heck is that? I thought I got over that years ago, but that's just that energy that's still stuck in there, right? So the most important thing is to wear them. If you put them in the drawer, it's going to make your drawer feel really good. That's not going to do anything for you. So wear them. They work. I promise. Yes. See, Nicole's got hers on. She's got her purple heart. I love the purple. It's funny. I knew as soon as I painted one purple that was a color that was going to be very popular.
Oh.
And I started with the red one, right? Because the red's the heart and people love that. And I saw a lot of those as well. But the one that has surprised me like crazy is the black one. I didn't think anyone would want,
I think I want to get a black one because it
okay,
will match.
well, we'll make sure that happens.
But I like the purple too.
Ah, look at this. And yes, the purple is awesome. I parallel parked for the first time with confidence. That's my atta girl moment. I usually will park somewhere else if I had to parallel park.
Me too.
Yay, your mom as well. Well,
I know how to parallel park very well.
Yes. Well, having a backup camera helps too, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. But, and Melinda, what doing something that we've been afraid to do just takes us to another level, doesn't it? Yeah. And most of us stay stuck in our little ways because we're afraid to do something else. Like, what's going to happen? Nothing. And if something does happen, oh well. So I'm glad that you did that. And that's a nice atta girl. And I'd like to hear more people put in their atta girls and atta boys. They are awesome. Have you got an atta girl, Nicole?
Well, let me see here. Yes. I wasn't going to say anything, but my atta girl is that I changed my diet and did some exercise over the past week. So, I mean, your health will make you do that, but
we usually need something to motivate us, right?
Yeah. But absolutely. I'm saying atta girl because, I wasn't really that motivated, but I was motivated. I just did it. I didn't have to think.
And did you give yourself an atta girl as you were doing it? Good.
And I am today. I've been very careful limiting my flour and sugar and all the good things that cause trouble in my life.
Yes. Yes. God, it's amazing how the things that taste so good can be so bad, right?
I know. So it looks like
I'll share a story about that. Did I share about the story about if it's that the problem is never mind. I won't even tell the story. It's just too weird. Anyway, I'm so proud. Here, let's see what she says here. It does. I was so proud of myself. I had Sherilyn go look at my parking. That's her mother-in-law and her husband. That's awesome. Yes. And I often say that one or 10 attaboys can be wiped out by one aw shit, right? But that's not really true, because the more you feel good about yourself, it's like a snowball effect, right? When you're beating yourself up all the time, I always say the beatings will continue until your attitude improves. But the more you recognize when you're doing good things, your vibrations raise. Your energy gets stronger. Your confidence grows. Everything in life, it's like sunshine of the spirit, right? When you get outside and it's a beautiful day and you're just enjoying the sunshine and the birds and the beautiful trees and flowers and all of those things, you just feel good inside. And that's what happens when we start giving ourselves a consistent diet of attagirls and attaboys. It just works. And it doesn't cost you a penny. So you see, it's not about the money. In fact, I've been a vegetarian for almost 40 years now, right? And people go, yeah, but it's too expensive. I can't do that. It's too expensive. No, the truth of the matter is, it's cheaper to eat as a vegetarian than it is to eat as a carnivore. Costs a lot of money to eat meat. Yeah. So anyway, that wasn't even where I was going today, but that's okay. Now, what are those happy feet, right? She's doing the happy dance. Is that what that is? Can you see it?
No, like high fives.
Oh, okay. High five. All right, good. And do we have anybody else on the call today? We haven't seen any new names yet. All right. So in that case, I'm going to put a couple of banners up for you. For those of you that want to, where am I going? Here we go. This is the YouTube channel, Mind Whispering YouTube channel, and there's the address if you need to write it down. I'll leave it up there for a little bit for those of you that need to write it. For those of you watching on the rebroadcast, you can do it there. And if I'll bring them back up again more if you need it later. But of course, you can always just hit pause on your computer, right? So There's my email address. You're welcome to email me anytime.
Oh, Wally and Patty say hello.
Yay!
Hi there.
Patty and Wally, hi. There we go. That's the address. Here's my phone number. You're all welcome to call me if you want to. Just be careful what you call me. All right. And then we have the Facebook group here. All right. So those are the ways you can contact me. Patty and Wally, welcome aboard. Glad you're here.
Oh, Jose's here too. Hi.
And Jose. Very good. Jose, I was going to send you a text, but I'm glad you're here because I had a dinner tonight that made me think of you. I had pesto pasta. And what I do is I buy the pesto sauce in a jar at Costco. It makes it really easy, really fast, and really good. So that's a recommendation from me today to you.
So it's a pesto sauce, or it's just a pesto?
It's a pesto sauce. It's it's in a jar, and it's got the pesto ground and in olive oil, and it's just really yummy. Like I say, you can fix dinner.
Hi, Cheryl. Good to see you.
Hi, Cheryl. Glad you're here.
Glad you're here. There we go.
Yes, Cheryl got a purple whisper.
Nice.
Ooh, yeah. I'm told that purple is her favorite color.
Yep.
So, yay. I'm glad you got that. And if you notice something, Cheryl, would you let us know what you noticed and if you didn't, tell us that as well. But if you noticed something when you started wearing it, let us know what you noticed, okay? She said yes, so I'm assuming that's what that's meaning.
I think she was saying yes too. It's a little delayed with the comments, so
yeah.
When she said yes was that she got the purple one.
Okay, yes. Well, if she did notice something, it would be nice if she put it in there, and I'm sure she will. Yum, we'll try it soon. Eating McDonald's tonight. Oh my God. Okay.
Nothing against McDonald's.
No, nothing against McDonald's. They're a wonderful corporation, I'm sure. And for those of you that work there, yay. All right. So what I wanted to talk about tonight, I got this book a while back. It's called Building a Story Brand. And it's a fascinating story in that he explains how every single movie you ever watch is created. That it starts with a hero, a guide, and what's the other one? A hero, a guide.
A villain?
A hero and a guide.
Okay.
The hero is usually somebody who is having a hard time getting through, and he's got to save the world or the princess or whatever the thing is in the storyline, right? But he bumbles his way. He doesn't have enough confidence. He's trying to do what he can do. And then there's this guide who guides him along, who's done the journey and knows how to get there. And it's just like, in fact, I was going to try to get it uploaded today, and I didn't get it done. But I wanted to upload a picture of the Wizard of Oz, and where it showed all the characters, like the lion without a heart and the Tin Man who had no courage, right? And you have
Great story.
Great story. But it's really the whole storyline of how movies are made. You got, the wizard is really almost like the villain in the story, right? But then you've got that princess who keeps guiding them all along their path.
Don't forget Toto.
And Toto. We all need Toto. Absolutely. Oh, you haven't started wearing it yet. Okay. Well, I'm sure it feels good in the box. Anyway. So, so the whole idea is that we all have our own story. And she does happy face. I know you'll wear it now, right? We all have this story that we've lived our life with. And most of us don't change that story. It's, I'm not good enough. Well, yeah, maybe they did that. Maybe they could make that happen, but no, I don't have that. And because that's your story, that's how you live your life. But here's a little secret. You can change the story anytime you want. You're the editor. You're the writer. You wrote the script, so you can change it, right? And you can, and as I keep saying, Patty and Wally say hi. Patty and Wally, hi, right back to you. Love you guys. As I keep saying to everybody, we have the power to change our story. So there is no thought police. We can think whatever we want. Now, what we say and what we do, those are the things we got to pay a price for. But our thinking is something that we can change anytime. One of my favorite things I did in a little story was I went into a Costco one day. And I think I might have told this story, but if I did, you'll hear it again. I walked into a Costco, and there was a mobile phone booth. They've got that big box, and they've got guys selling phones all day long in there. And one guy was, doing his little pitch. He was doing as everybody walks by. And he said, so how's your day going? I said, it's been awesome. I've been having a party in my mind all day. And he looked at me like, oh, wow, I never thought of that. So
like
that's
you went into Costco today. Did you do that today?
I did actually. Well, I didn't say that today, but I lived that way today. I was having a party, right?
No, but you were in Costco today too.
Oh, you know who I saw today in Costco? You do know.
And you didn't recognize her.
I know.
And hopefully Melinda will see this, because it was Melinda.
Yes, it was Melinda.
Not
Absolutely.
Melly Melinda, but my
the
friend
interesting
Melinda.
thing about Melinda that I didn't even connect with until about a week ago on Facebook. She had posted a couple of posts, and I looked at her and I said, God, she looks a lot like a woman I worked with at the Ballard Company 100 years ago. And she could be her sister. Excuse me. And that's what I was thinking when I saw the posts. And when I was looking at her when I was in Costco, I was thinking, God, she looks just like this other person that I know. And then she goes, and she kept saying, are you sure you want me to do your groceries for you? And I'm going, oh my goodness. And then she said, and I looked at her and said, oh my God, I'm so bad.
Sorry, just a little. I have an I Spy going out on my dad, you guys.
Yes, I know. I can't be left alone. So anyway, back to the story taking. What kind of a story do you want to write? where do you want to go? And if you can parallel park a car, you can do most anything. Yeah. I know I told a story about how my dream had been to open up a healing center 100 years ago. And then I realized after a little while that I would have absolutely hated having a learning center, because there was so much admin work you have to do that. And you have to be there pretty much from the time it opens until the time it closes if you want that thing to succeed. Well, I don't like being inside all that much anyway. So to have to be in a place like that all the time, I don't think that would have been good for me. I need variety. I need to get outside. I need to move. I've got energy I want to burn. So those are the kinds of things that happen in life as we start moving towards where we think we want to go, is that there'll be detours.
Well, that's changing your story, right?
Yes, exactly right.
Editing the story as you go.
Yes, yes. So here's another little story for you. Long ago, I was watching a TV show, and it was a great story. It was about a young lady. I might have told this already, did I? A young lady who she had won an award for a column she wrote. And she was so excited about this award. And she goes to her father and says, Papa, look at the award I won. And he takes the award and crumbles it up and throws it in the trash can. And he said, I didn't spend all this money to send you to college to be a damn writer. And he left the house and he went out to the bingo parlor in town. And he's playing bingo, and you can just see he's got smoke coming out of his ears. And he's playing he's moving the cards and the parts, and all of a sudden he goes, bing! And collapses on the ground and has a heart attack and dies. Yeah. And the next scene is the young girl sitting on the bed, looking at all of his stuff that they had gotten from the funeral home, and she gets into his wallet, and she pulls out the letter. He had, smoothed out all the creases and folded it back up, and he put it in his wallet. And she's got tears going down her face as she's looking at this letter. And Mom happens to walk in just then. As all women have that timing thing, right? They know exactly when to walk in. And she said, oh, honey, I see you found the letter. And she goes, I don't understand. He was screaming at me that it was horrible that I was being a writer. And Mom says, well, that's because you don't understand. When your daddy and I got married, we got a dowry from my family. And your father's goal in life was always to be a writer. And so we took that dowry and we went to New York City, and he was going to be a writer. And he wrote and wrote and wrote and submitted it to all the different publications, and he never got a single thing published. And as we were leaving New York to go back home in total defeat, he swore he'd never write another thing again. And he didn't. So it wasn't really that he didn't want you to be a writer. It was really that, it brought back the pain that he had for failing to be a writer. And so you see the moral of the lesson, and this is what the mother is explaining to the daughter, as I'll explain to you, is that very few people ever try to live that dream that's deep inside themselves. And I know I've mentioned this on the broadcast, we all have that dream in us. At least I believe we do. Maybe I'm wrong. And if I am, oh well. But we all have this dream of what we'd really like to do in life. Like, who was it? There's this really beautiful woman I remember who told me that all she ever really dreamed of being was a mother. Who could that have been? Yeah,
that was me.
That's right. And you did that extremely well. You have an incredibly good family. And I'm very proud of the job you did raising your children. And as I always say, sometimes our children turn out well in spite of us. So, but what is your dream? And you didn't even know that, huh? What is your dream? And to finish that story is that most people don't even know they have a dream. And if they try to go after it and they don't succeed, they quit. And they go back to living that life that I talk about every single week about the huddled masses living quiet desperation. That's what happens is we have a defeat or a series of defeats, and the pain of it is so tough that we just can't bear to do it again. But it's kind of like that guy that's got the pickaxe in a mine and he's digging for gold. And he digs and he digs and he digs and he digs until he can't do it anymore and he quits. And they show the picture that he was that close. If he had just dug a little more, he'd have got it, right? And that's what most of us do is we quit before we get to that last spot. And I can't tell you that, in this whisper work, it hasn't made me a wealthy man. In fact, sometimes I wonder why in the world I do it, but I do it because of what I know it does for people, right? And there are so many times where I would think, maybe I ought to just quit doing this. I mean, this isn't getting me anywhere. Why am I doing it? But I don't know what else I would do that would make me as happy as when I see people growing so much easier and so much faster by getting balancings and wearing whispers. It just works. And so I don't think I'm going to do anything else. I just can't imagine doing that. But what I do absolutely know, and my family knows, I will never quit because I don't quit. I just don't. Maybe I should, but I just don't. And I won't. You're right. I won't do that.
No.
Yeah. So what is your story, and what part of your story would you want to rewrite? I think for Melinda, knowing her like I do, oops, why have I got that up there? Where did that go? Oh, there we go. I didn't even know that, Lala. Yeah, ha. Melinda follows your story a great deal, right? I think she absolutely loves being a mother.
Yes.
And I think of anything she does, that is probably the most important thing that means the most to her in life. And I could be wrong, but I doubt it.
I really doubt it too.
Yeah.
So when I said the story goes, and I don't remember because I was very young, but my father would ask me as I was a little kid, what do you want to be when you grow up? And he used to ask my kids that too. But I would always reply, or if somebody else asked me that, I would reply, a mommy. Yeah. So that's the story.
Yep, that's true. Yeah, absolutely. I knew from the depths of my despair when I felt like I was probably the lowest I had ever been, and just felt that incomprehensible demoralization that we can have in our lives, that what really gave me passion was helping people. And I used to get in trouble for helping people. And it was like, well, but that's what I really enjoy, is helping people. Why would you want me not to do that? Right. But I get it. You got to keep balance on all things, right? And you got to put food on the table and a roof over your head. But if you can find if you have to work, and I don't know of anyone on our call right now, except for maybe Jose, who's independently wealthy and in no need of money whatsoever. Most of us have to work for a living. And so if we have to work, in this area that we live in Riverside County, right now, most people either commute to go to work or they work in retail, because that's pretty much the gist of what we got out here. There's not a whole lot of manufacturing things going on.
I think a lot of people are working from home too.
Yeah, there's a lot more of that happening. Absolutely. And I think that's part of why we have a labor shortage in the country at the moment, is that during the pandemic, a lot of people started figuring out, well, what can I do to make some extra money? And they started doing it and going, I don't need to go to work to do this. I can make this much sitting at home, and I don't have to put wear and tear on my car or on me or anything else. And they're enjoying their life a lot better. So there's a prime example, Nicole, of how we can look at things being horrible, like, oh my God, the pandemic and the isolation we went through and all of that. But what's the positive that came out of it? Do we take enough time to even look at what the positive was? Well, there's a lot of positives. One is the fact that, a lot of people are working from home now that didn't before. We probably have a greater connection with our loved ones than we did before, because we kind of take that freedom and that, the busyness for granted. And we don't even think about the fact that, gosh, I haven't seen my mom in 100 years, or, you know what I'm saying? We haven't seen so-and-so in so long. And that's a positive that comes out of it. We probably take better care of our health because we recognize that if our immune system was weak, that we had a greater chance of getting really sick, right? And Luke here says he said the isolation is a positive from the pandemic. Laugh out loud. He loves working from home is what I think he means. Yep, absolutely. Yeah, see, there's an example. And that's
I think the isolation for him is positive.
That's what he's saying. Yeah, it's a positive because he now works from home.
Yeah.
And, a lot of companies found that as well, is that they don't need everybody working in the office, which, even though traffic seems absolutely horrendous at this point, I'm sure that it's still better that, for the people that are working from home. I remember when you were working from home, you were actually more productive than if you had to drive an hour and a half to work every day and put in your day and then drive home. You were better for the company and it was better for you, right?
Yes.
So, it's that way for everything. There's not a thing that happens in our lives that doesn't have a positive. We just have to look for it. Take a few minutes. What's happening? What can I glean that's positive out of this situation? And if we can do that, we can shorten the amount of negative time that we're feeling, the loss, the pain, the mourning, whatever the situation might be. We can lessen that duration and that intensity if we can focus on what the positive is for them. And they're making them go back into the office. Yeah, that's happening to some companies, right? But, not all. And maybe it's an idea that maybe you could be doing what you're doing from home on your own or for yourself.
Yeah.
So anyway, look for those possibilities. What could you do? What would you do different if you could? And you can. Maybe you're a mechanic and you decide, you know what, I want to work out of my garage and probably make more money than you would if you were busting wrenches for somebody else, right? But that gives you that freedom. And then, I was a district manager for Hewlett Packard, district lead man in the San Diego area for a long time. And I was responsible for training the new kids that we would bring on board. And I always started off with two things. Number one, have fun. Because if you're not having fun, the customer is going to feel it, and you're not going to have a good experience of working with that customer. And number two, remember that selling is just teaching. So if you teach the customer about the thing that they're looking for and why this one might be better than that one, and give them some information, they're going to walk away feeling like you really care and you really know, and they're going to be more confident in what it is they're buying, right? So it's that way in every single job, regardless of whether you're selling or you're driving truck or you're, whatever the job is that you're doing. If you can make it fun, that's a choice. You can choose to either this job sucks and I hate it and I'm not going to do it anymore. And if that's the way you feel, then look for a different job, because that's no way to live your life, to spend, we all spend the most amount of our time in the work that we do. And if you don't like the work you're doing, you're not enjoying your life very much. So figure out, each one of us is a co-creator in our life. So figure out what you can create that will make your day fun. Even if it's the job that you think sucks, how can you make it fun? And you can. You absolutely can. You just have to work towards that, right? Let me get this off of here. Why is that on there still? There we go. Because I was changing between comments and banners. And we are looking for a few comments. Anybody got anything to add to the broadcast tonight that other people can see as people record it? New comments just as I said that, huh? I want to own my own business. Oh, okay, Melinda. Well, that's exactly the kind of thing we're talking about. You know, your grandpa believes in entrepreneurism, right? My dad used to always say that working a job will only give you a basic living, and you will live up to the level of your income. So if you're a general manager of a company making $80,000 a year, you're going to live in an $80,000 environment. And if you're sweeping the floor and you're making $10 an hour, you're going to live in a $10 environment, and it won't change because the dollars don't change. So the only chance you have really of getting out of that loop is by either one, being a tremendous saver and sacrificing yourself for a number of years to get enough cash flow to do much of anything, or find a business that you can operate that you can make more than the basic amount of living money. It's the only choices you got. So, or marry somebody rich. There you go. There's a possibility. So that's the power hour. We're talking about how we can add more power to ourselves to create the kind of life we want, right? And that's what the power hour is all about, is we are dedicated to being more positive-minded people. It's being human. And one of the things I found in my experience from when I went from being a man with no confidence whatsoever, having horrible self-esteem, and feeling pretty much like life really sucked all the time, that I had no good luck, all bad things happened to me, and all that kind of whiny crap that we do when we're in that kind of a place. Whoa! We lost our co-host. I'm sure she'll arrive back here in just a moment. But that was never a fun thing to feel that way. Things happen like your laptop falls off your lap. I mean, it's just terrible. But as
hopefully we can edit that out.
No, that's perfect. I was on a marketing Zoom call one day, and the young lady that was filling in for the main host that would normally cover the show had all kinds of technical problems going on when she started the broadcast. It was alive like this, and her mic wasn't working, and she couldn't get the banners to work, and just all kinds of little things that just weren't working the way it was supposed to. And she stayed really calm through the whole thing. She goes, okay, well, let's take a look at this. And she went over, she took care of that, and then went over and got this. And it might have taken her 20 minutes of the hour broadcast to get everything working, but she got it done, and she did it with such grace. And I commented on her, wow, that is such a great example of how to handle technical difficulties, right? Because technical things happen all the time. Like we had the time where I couldn't hear you, but the audience could, and that was on my end. It was a little setting in the yard stream thing here that wasn't set right. And then the time that nobody knew we were going to have a broadcast because I forgot to click on the buttons that notify yard stream to post on Facebook and YouTube. So nobody knew about that. So those kinds of things happen. And it's that way about all of life, right? Things happen.
Yeah.
But it's whether we make it good or we make it bad. If it's a bad thing that's happened, we can either make it last for a long time. This is going to hurt for a month, or we can just say, okay, that's done and move on.
Yeah.
And here's Jose saying, I want to feel like I'm giving back. I want to feel like my work is helping others. That's what brings me joy. It sounds like somebody I know, Jose.
Papa.
Oh, here's the thing, Jose, that you're not aware of. You already are. You already do. You just, because you're so hard on yourself, you don't recognize that. Even working a job like the one you work that you might think is, not very meaningful or anything like that, you have to recognize that you're making people's lives better. And you have the power to do it with a simple smile. Just the nod that lets the person knows that they're being seen, they're being recognized, and somebody's taking care of them. So this is a prime example of what I'm talking about, Jose, is that we all look at what we're doing and we minimize it. We think, well, I work at Target and all I do is cash registering, and that's my wife, Kate. She works at Target and she's a cashier. And she can either look at that job as just a meaningless job and all she's doing is taking people's money all day or whatever, but she has the ability within herself, and I know she does this because I've seen her do it, is to make somebody's day just by saying, hi, how's your day going? Well, how many people ask that? Not many in the course of your day. So you can, no matter what work it is you're doing, you can make it more positive. And if you recognize that you impact others by the way you present yourself and the care that you show about other people, then things start to change, right? And here's Jose talking a little bit more. I feel like where I need to be right now, I'm where I need to be right now. Working with kids and interacting with them every day has refreshed me in my work mindset. I love my job right now. Awesome. And I had forgotten, Jose, that you had switched careers and that you were doing the work at the school. And I do remember you and I talking about that and just how much it meant to you. And that's just such a prime example of, you made the decision that where you were wasn't where you wanted to be. And that takes courage, because it's easy to stay in that comfort zone. Well, I know how to do this job. I can do this. And yeah, the hours suck and the pay sucks and this sucks and that sucks. But at least I know I have this job. What if I go out and try something else and it doesn't work out? That's what most of us say. That's what most of us do. But life goes on no matter what, and everything works out. My dear mentor, George, used to always say to Kate, my wife, don't worry, everything works out. Just don't worry, everything will work out, right? And everything does. Not necessarily the way we want every time, but always later we'll look back on whatever happened and go, wow, am I glad that happened like that? Or I wouldn't have known this, right? Or I wouldn't have met that person, or I wouldn't have, and that's the way it always is. But we have this little mind that we use that says, well, it should look like this. The box should be this size, and it should be brown, and it should have white lettering on it. And that's the box, and that's my box, and that's the way it's going to be. And it's never like that.
Yeah. Well, like you say, you want to hear God laugh, tell him your plans, right?
Tell him your plans. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Just like last year about this time, I was very sick, right?
Yes.
And in the hospital and at the end of, I think it was the end of June, actually, I got out of the hospital, and I'd already been, considering, I had already started taking real estate classes. So that was like or dabbling in it, and I knew when I got better and got back to work, that I was just done there, and I always know when I'm done, right? I gotta go, it's time to go. I'm done. And so each day that I was there, it was like, oh, I'm done, like I already
Yeah.
knew.
Yep.
So I was studying for the real estate exam and then passed it my first shot, and each day has been just a bonus now, like no
Yeah.
matter what I do, every day is a bonus, because I was so sick, guys. Like, we just, I mean, my kids sat in front of me, my husband sat in front of me, and father and friends, crying. Like, I didn't know how sick I was under a lot of medications. But sepsis will do that, right? Like,
Yes.
blood
Not to
disease.
share the whole story, but what Nicole went through was a surgery and she got infections, right?
Yeah,
Was it sepsis or what was it?
sepsis.
Yeah.
It's a blood poisoning type thing.
Yep.
And
And
that
she
was
was
very
so
critical.
loaded with antibiotics and pain meds that she was, in la la land, but still hurting, right? I
Yeah,
mean, there wasn't enough pain meds to take away the pain.
no.
And she got very, very sick. And, as a father, you hate to see your children hurt. And yet at the same time, I also knew that this too would pass and she'd be okay. And I was very confident about that. But it's in the moment it can be a tough thing, but yes, and there's another prime example of when things feel like they're at their worst, there's good that comes from it.
Yes.
Always. It's always like that. Doing some buffering there, kiddo. So
Doing so much?
you're buffering. There was some lag time happening.
Oh.
I don't know if it's happening on the broadcast side for everybody, but if it is, let me know so that we can work on that somehow. Okay. You were frozen a couple of different times on my side.
Maybe
I
my
don't know
Wi-Fi
if
is
anyone
not
else
so
has had
great.
that. Okay. So we're at 6:47. We've done darn near. There was a slight lag. Yeah. Okay.
Oh.
That's what I thought. All right.
Check
Well,
my
we'll work
Wi-Fi.
on that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's Wi-Fi. Yeah. By the way, I'll talk to you about Wi-Fi later. I learned a lot about that.
My dad has to teach me about Wi-Fi. What is going on?
That's scary, right? When my wife Kate and I got married, I knew where the on button was on the computer, and that was just about all I knew. And as the years have gone by, technology has been a big part of my life, and I'm not a master of it by any stretch of the imagination, but I'm further along than that now. Right? So that's again, we grow in life, things change. So for all of you this week, I want to wish you just an awesome time.
Yes.
In my intro video I mentioned on YouTube, I mentioned that if you don't think the whisper work is very important and you got a mind that drives you crazy, that's okay. Find some other way. But find some way, because working with a mind that's constantly giving you negativity is an awful way to live. And it's just too hard. And I don't like doing things the hard way anymore. Being Irish, I always did everything the hard way. But now I'm old and wiser, hopefully, and I believe I believe in doing things the easier way. It's like, it's like I used to always lift up these great big boxes and carry them out to the car because I'm strong, don't you know? Now, as I'm older and wiser, I let the cart do the work. Simple little things. Huh?
Oldest.
Yes. One final thing I wanted to mention before, and we got sidetracked, which happens to me every time. But I wanted to do a shout out to Garrett, Nicole's husband. He is an amazing man. And one of the many things that I love about him is that if he doesn't feel like the job he's doing is what he wants to be doing, he'll quit. Right away. No problem. I quit. Bye. And I've never seen a human being ever in all of my years who could quit a job on Monday and be hired on Tuesday. He's amazing. He just, he interviews awesomely. People immediately like him and want to hire him. And what I got to really understand about it is that it's that energy thing. You know how you speak it into existence? His firm belief is that if he goes out to get a job, he'll get it. Yeah. And he does. And I believe it's because he believes that. So he never stays in a job very long that he doesn't like. Now, he's learned, as we all do as we go along, that sometimes it isn't the job, it's us. And so he's learning to adjust that a bit, right? And understanding that it's never going to be a perfect job, because there is no perfect job. Even owning your own business is not a perfect thing, because you got issues you got to deal with, right? I remember, I think I told this story before about George Harrison being on a radio show one day. George Harrison was a Beatle, right? And everybody would call in and say, "Oh, George, it's so wonderful to talk to you. How does it feel to be so rich?" And he'd start off with going, "Well, brother, it's okay, but it's got its downside too." And he'd just be real gentle about it. And then after about 45 minutes, somebody said it again, and he just said, "Look, it's not all that you think it is. It just, more money just gives you more problems. So it's not the end. You think it's the solution to all your problems, but it's not." And he was so right. So remember that going away today, that no matter what your situation is financially, it's getting more isn't going to be the solution. How you deal with what you have and how you feel about what you have will make all the difference. It's like that saying, if you don't like what you have now, how will getting more make you feel any different? So I wish you all an awesome week this week. Yeah. I hope you go out and smile like crazy and make people wonder what you're up to. And just like Jose said here, where is it? I feel like I'm where I need to be right now, working with kids and interacting with them. Every day has refreshed me in my work mindset. I'm loving my job right now. That's what happens when you pay attention to what really makes you happy and then go do it. Every hour I spend doing Facebook with all my family and friends and the growing group of people that are coming on the broadcast. And every time I get to do a balancing on somebody, every time I go make Whisper products, all of that just makes me feel so wonderful.
Yes.
And that just makes me want to do it even more, right? So for all of you, I love you. I wish you all the very best. And we'll see. Oh, by the way, we may not be on next week. I will let you know by a Facebook post or a Whisper post or a YouTube post. But I have to go to a wedding, and I'm not exactly sure of the timing, but it's a good possibility I won't be here next Monday. Or
okay.
Is it the Monday after? Anyway, I'll let you know. All right? Take care, everybody. Talk to you later. Bye.
Glad you're here.